Hi there. This is Sam Schiffman, and I'm the Innovation Architect for Healthcare at Vantiq. Today, I'd like to present you Vantiq's entry in the 2025 HL7 AI Challenge. I'd like to start by introducing you to Captain Don O'Connell, the U.S. Air Force retired. Now, unfortunately, in 2022, Don did come down with COVID. And he survived, but he had just an awful experience in the hospital and really hasn't wanted to go back since. Recently, Don needed to move in with his daughter, and his daughter made it kind of one of the conditions of him moving in that he go back and he actually see a primary care doctor. So he went and he saw Dr. Sarah Smith. Dr. Smith recorded a bunch of information about Don during the visit. If we look closely at this information, we can see that Don does have some concerning problems. He has issues with diabetes, issues with hypertension, and issues with obesity. Now, it so happens that the VA does have what we call clinical practice guidelines that are geared towards providing the best standard of care for each of those conditions. There are a couple of challenges here, though. If we go and we look at those guidelines, there are things like 165 pages here, 134 pages here, and 147 pages here. And these are just three of the guidelines that Dr. Smith might be expected to know. Obviously, having all of this information at her fingertips is a real challenge. What we'd like to do is have a system that could actually take this clinical information that Dr. Smith has recorded, combine it with those clinical practice guidelines, and suggest to Dr. Smith a care plan that's personalized for Don. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Let's talk about the three challenges here. First, we need to unlock the clinical note. Secondly, we need to unlock those clinical practice guidelines. And finally, we need to generate that personalized care plan. So first, unlocking the clinical note. To do this, we're going to use a product called Anything to Fire that is provided by Clarify Solutions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the PDF of the clinical note, we're going to upload it to Anything to Fire. It's going to give us back JSON, a Fire bundle, and then we're going to turn that into strings using a Python library and stick it in a semantic index. So let's actually just look at the uploading of this to Anything to Fire. So here we're going to see that we're uploading this to their interface. I will admit that some of these videos have been sped up just to make it more pleasant for you so that you don't have to sit and watch it go by for minutes at a time. So it's gone in and it's actually found all of these Fire resources, including this A1C observation inside that PDF. And here you can just see all of the Fire resources that it found. From this information, we get some facts about Don, right? He is 62 years old. We have some vitals from him. We have some medication that he's actually taking and some conditions that he has, including that COVID. So that's great. We brought that into a semantic index, which we can now do question answering about, which we've actually presented in the past about that. But now let's look at unlocking that clinical practice guideline. And for this, we use Google Gemini. And I don't have a video of this, but I'm going to explain to you what the process was. Basically, what we did was we took each PDF of the clinical practice guideline, uploaded it to Gemini's interface with a prompt which asked Gemini, and in this case, we were using 2.5 Pro, we asked it to generate a prompt for an agent who would have the job of writing a personalized care plan based on this CPG. And the prompt told it to summarize the CPG in such a way that the agent could do its job without having access to the original PDF. So from this, we got a bunch of prompts which we were able to create agents around. And that let us get to the final part of our presentation, which is actually generating those personalized care plans. So we had those agents and the prompts that had come from Gemini, and we put them into a network of agents. So we have first a user agent that interacts with the clinician and then orchestrates across all these other agents. We have an agent that represents the patient, which has access to those FHIR resources, which are in that semantic store. We have access to each of the agents that knows about the clinical practice guidelines. Then we have a care plan combiner, because each of those agents is going to produce its individual care plan, and then they need to be combined. And finally, we have one that knows how to write a FHIR care plan resource, and so takes the combined care plan and actually formats it into a standard. So let's look at that, and we're going to go through 3 different examples here. We're going to start out with a simple one where we ask for Don's diabetes. Okay, so you're going to see all the agents run off, and they start planning out what they're going to do and start pulling together information about Don from the patient and pull all of that together. And then they're going to send that over to the FHIR care plan. There wasn't anything to combine here, right? So skip that step. And in this one, you see that we now have a FHIR care plan resource, which lists several things that should be done for Don. And if you notice, it has references back to the original care plan, original clinical practice guideline. And here we can see what the process actually was. So we see that it planned out, the user planned out what it was going to do. It messaged the diabetes agent. The diabetes agent made a bunch of requests to the patient agent, including the age and the A1C. The patient agent actually didn't have answers for some of the stuff, but it went ahead and put together a care plan, and then that care plan got converted into FHIR. And we can see what the agents calls and the tools calling that happened behind all that. So that's great. So now let's look at one where it actually is going to do a combination. So we're going to ask it to create a care plan for Don, who has diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. Okay. So now we're going to see it. It's going to create a similar plan for diabetes first, right? But now it's actually going to create one also for hypertension, because we asked it to, and obesity, because we also asked it to, right? Now we're going to see it go to that combiner, and it's going to combine them all together, and then it's going to write the actual FHIR resource, which we will see appearing for us here. So this FHIR resource now has goals and activities associated with all 3 of those conditions. So that's great. So let's look at just one more scenario. In this scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to create a care plan for Don's conditions. We're not going to specify which conditions, right? And what that's going to mean is it's going to plan out, okay, well, what if he has diabetes, what if he has hypertension, what if he has obesity? Now, if we go back and we look at Don's record, he's actually only has obesity listed as an actual condition. So what the system has done is it skipped diabetes and hypertension and developed a care plan just for obesity. And we can see that over on the left-hand side here. So that's 3 examples of the system building care plans. Let's take a quick look at least one of those care plans. So we'll take a look at this diabetes care plan here. You'll see that it actually has a number of activities and goals in it. And one of the activities is to consider increasing his dosage of metformin. And this is based on the guideline. So if we went, there's also this Mediterranean diet. So let's look at both of them. We'll look at number 25 in the diabetes So if we come here and we go to, there we go, page 24, we'll go and we'll look at recommendation 25. They suggest prioritizing drugs over doing insulin treatment. If we go back and we look at that Mediterranean diet, which was recommendation number 12, right? We can go back up here and we can see for adults with type 2 diabetes, we suggest a Mediterranean diet. So those are two recommendations, two activities which have come out of this care plan. I mean, this clinical practice guideline translated through to the personalized care plan for Don. What we should note is we can take a look at some of these codes here. One of the things which we know that LLMs are famous for is hallucinations, right? If we go and we look at this SNOMED code, it is in fact actually wrong. It is hallucinating here that SNOMED code is for diabetic diet, which has nothing to do with metformin medication. We've actually done previous projects which we presented at HIMSS about how to correct this problem with an adversarial pattern. We didn't implement it in this particular project, but you can go and see that video on our channel, and it'll be linked in the comments below. So thank you very much. This has been our project for this year's AI Challenge, and we'd love to hear what your feedback is.